Here starting off, 10P 2x2, right? And in a 4-2-5, the stress is going to be on that will linebacker. If you're playing a coverage, right, where you don't have that weak safety, right, covering down, right, on two weak. So you look at, hey, you're 3/2 to the field, right? You're 3/2 to the boundary, right? But, right, the nickel doesn't have, right, an immediate run gap to the field that will does, right? So here we want to play a traditional soft cover two, a two read, right? That will linebacker, right? He's got no cover down on two weak, right? So there's an immediate threat, especially in the RPO game, right? For hitch, or slant, got a flat corner, right? Got a half safety over the top, right? So toolbox, right, is on the upper right-hand side, right? So this is our anchor and our tackle, right? Our anchors are strong end, right? Our tackles are strong defensive tackle. Our nose is our weak defensive tackle. Our end is our weak defensive end, right? So it's really just word association with when we cancel gaps, right? And we spike those guys either on a pirate, single, double, whatever that defensive tackles interior technique is. So, right, with the anchor, if we want to, spike that anchor B gap, that would be an Abby call. Right from there, right, there's quite a bit of communication that needs to go on. Right, this mic, right, communicates that to the anchor. Right, that anchor's got to communicate it to the tackle. Right, and we'll go through that once we hit 3x1, but really focusing on 2x2. Right, looking at this boundary end, right, our weak defensive end. Right, the will needs to alleviate himself from that B gap, right, and allow himself to be a C gap player so he can go relate to two weak, right? So right here, right, that will could make an eat call, right? So will communicates the eat call to the end, right? From there, right, that means the end, right, is spike and B gap, right? Just a simple single pirate, right? And then the will, right, is going to play that C gap so he can go relate to number two, right, on any RPO quit game. So, right, the next communication, right? So first it was the will to the end. Now the end has to communicate to the nose, right? He would communicate tag cop, right? And cop means cover me on pass, right? So it'll turn into a traditional exit, stunt, right? Where if you just pirate those guys and you send the end, to that B gap and leave that nose in that A gap, right? Then you've got no contain, right? And your Will's playing a hitch and he's playing C gap, and now he's got to go be your contained player. That's not ideal. He can't do three jobs at once. So that cop call, right, goes from the end to the nose, right? If we get traditional run, right, they fit their A and B gaps. The Will's still that overhang, right, for that C gap. If it does turn to pass, right now that end will still stay on that B gap track, but now that nose, right, will cover him on pass and he will get to contain. So just really easy stunt right there. Takes a good amount of work, right, to get those run pass reads for those D tackles. But it's something that you can still, right, have leverage, hold that 5-man box, be gapped out in the run game, and still have contain in the pass game. The if we were to gap cancel, right, the tackle, that would be a tackle across guard, makes sense. And then the nose would be, right, a nag across guard. If we were playing a bench front and he was a boundary three technique. So the ones that we utilize most, right, to with the will, right, is that eat call with that boundary end. Communication goes will to end to nose in this picture. All right, next we're playing like a mini concept, to 10 trips, 3x1, right? So now, right, we've got three detached to the field. We're playing a two high coverage. We want to get that 4/3 to the field with our Mike nickel field corner field safety. From there, if the Mike just aligned in his pre-snap, right, field A gap, right, we would really be in trouble, right, because you've got no immediate cover down on three strong, right, hitch or stick, right, availability all day, right. So this would be one where, right? The Mike, he's aligned with our strong defensive end, who's the anchor, right? The strong defensive tackle, right? Who's the tackle. And then from there, Mike would make an Abby call, right? Triggering that anchor. From there, the anchor is going to communicate to the tackle. So, right, if it was run, it would look like a full field pirate, right? Sending that anchor B gap, that tackle A gap, right? And then from there, your Mike, right, can relate to any hitch or stick of three, right? He can play that C gap from space, right? We're all good. We've got all six gaps accounted for in the run game, right? We're not killing ourselves, getting hit on the hitches and sticks and slants of number three strong. Now, the next part of the communication, right, goes between, right, the anchor and tackle, right, again, right, a cop call, right, cover me on pass, right, so a tag cop, right, means tackle across guard on run, right, cover me on pass. Anchor is always going to stay right on that B gap track, right, and then the tackle, right, can cover him on pass, right, so it basically turns into that fast exchange exit, right, that stunt to the field. So now you've got a contained player, right, with that defensive tackle. So again, right, in 2x2, that Will's under stress, right, he's the one going through his toolbox. 3x1 detached right now, that Mike, right, if we're in a two high coverage, right, and this is for coverages that you don't have an immediate cover down, on those players. Here's just a quick drill, right, that I think is, really good to work. You don't want to just show that 5-man box all day, right, and then hop into a gap cancel, because then you're tipping it, right, to the offense, right. But here, right, we're working boundary, right? So this is a will linebacker, right? Then we'll work the Mike, then we'll work the will, right? So we're going over, hey, if the back's here, right, it's 2x2. That's terrible too. 2x2. If the back's to the field, it's 3x1. We give them a coverage, right? Tell them that it's a coverage where you don't have a cover down for the will on 2 weak. You don't have a cover down for the Mike on 3 strong, right? So they make their call, whatever it is. They hold in the box, late stem, right? Get to that late 5-man box. Now, really with the technique, right? We call this RPO drill, because he's got the opportunity to either hand the ball to the back, pull it for zone read, right? Or throw, right? Just a simple hitch to 2 weak. So left foot, lead foot, right? With that inside foot. Really, we want to stay right at that heel to toe stagger, right? Where my left foot's going to be my lead foot, my right foot's going to be my trail foot, right? And my right foot wants to stay at a heel relationship, toe heel relationship of my lead foot, right? So taking those nice, slow 4 to 6 inch read steps while he's reading through the mesh, quarterback hands it, right? Immediately, he's going to trigger off that right foot. He's going to fall in. Want to make sure we keep square hips, right? But putting that inside foot as the lead foot and that outside foot as that trail foot, right? Now, if it is pass, right, this hip, right, can easily be hinged to open, right? Take a snapshot to 2 weak and break flat to them. So want to make sure we've got square shoulders, right? That slight stagger. So now, boom, it is pass. All I have to do is open my right foot, get my toe pointed to the target, right, and break flat. All right, now we flip it. Now it's gun strong, right? So visualizing it's 3x1. This is a number 3 receiver, right? The back is gun strong. So now he's in conflict, right? Let's say, hey, we're playing a quarter half. We're playing a mini type concept, right? Where you've got no cover down on 3 strong. Now, the best thing about this drill is making sure these receivers continue to adjust their alignments, right? Get really wide, get to a normal split, get to a cut split, get to a nasty split, right? Where this linebacker has to make, right, a decisive, right, call, right, with what gap he's going to play, what calls he's going to make.